Take That, the singers, Back for Good, the song. Mzee Opondo with his Chikofira has enjoyed it. Welcome to Gang, Opondo. We have certainly missed you. Having you 2 weeks in a row is just fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know that you miss me when I'm not on Gang.
Yeah, we certainly do.
No, but you know, I'm doing the 26th year on the Gang. Oskar, honestly, you need to give me a service award, and I go, I go home, and then I can come once in a year. 26 years is not.
Keyword is service award.
Service award, and now that I've mentored Ssemujju and other, yes. Surely I shouldn't be arguing with the young people now.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes, and
I want to be in Parilament and that's nice thing. Just
eating organic chicken.
Organic.
You see, Oskar, I have started. I'm trying to study what was the science in retiring people at 60 in public service.
Actually, initially it was 55.
Yeah.
It was the NRSC that increased to 60.
Because if it is scientific, it means people will need to go and have a rest at 60.
No, it is actually, it gives you time to tie the loose ends of your private life. Because when you live at 60 or 70, how much can you do? Because working in the government previously was full time. It's not like now, where we cheat the government time, we are doing great things.
So
it is when you retire, then you go and start your things. You want to retire your business.
Sometimes that's a government employee mentality. For us to work in private sector, we don't know what retirement means. But anyway, welcome to the Gang, Honorable Ssemujju. Did you pass by Masaka yesterday?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I had some other engagements.
Or he feared the hooligans.
Did you create the engagements to avoid passing by Masaka or?
But there will be engagements and then you make a selection. Sometimes I even miss Parliament, for which I am paid.
Okay, fair enough. In the hot seat, listeners, I should have said I am Oskar Semweya Musoke. The morning show, Moses is still here. And when I didn't say welcome to the Capital Gang, I am Oskar Semweya Musoke with a bevy of topics. You've heard Moses in this. He's still in the studio. So in the hot seat, we have Mr. Francis Abino Ogwal, Senior Manager, Environment Planning Coordination of NEMA. You're most welcome to the Capital Gang.
In charge of planning. And
environmental planning and
coordination in the wetland.
Well,
thank you.
I wanted to ease him in, but you are attacking.
He has already started.
He has already started attacking straight away.
Yeah.
So we wanted the ED, but the ED is a clever person. The ED sent Francis Abino Ogwal.
Now, when you say the ED is a clever person, I think Ogwal, are you saying Ogwal is not clever?
No, he has no option, because if your supervisor has sent
you're an instruction.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot at the moment that needs to be done, and he's leading another activity.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is NEMA is here.
NEMA is here. Yes. But NEMA is being shown in a very bad light. You displace people, demolish their property, you've not told them where to go, and they've been living there many years. So what happened? Let's go backwards.
Let's go backwards there. You know what is happening right now? When somebody sees on TV or on the print media, you may think that NEMA just sprang up from nowhere, and then people are seeing what's happening and asking those questions, where was NEMA before? But I have to tell you that this is something that has taken place for a long time in terms of creating awareness to people that what they were doing there was not right. We have been doing a lot of awareness activities there. And to now try to bring people at least to a level of where they could take action voluntarily, we issued what we call environmental restoration orders. That was between 2016, 2017, 2018, which spells out clearly that please leave this place, demolish what you have started, and also do not come back and do similar things. So people, as you know, the nature of human beings is that they receive these letters and they wait to see if I don't do it, what happens. So it took us a bit of a while to start the action because of challenges with resources and others. But what you're seeing right now is just the very, very last option of what we needed to take. But enforcement, as you see it, most people will not welcome it because it brings in what people are now seeing. Maybe it is unfair, things are not done right, but we have followed the procedure that we need to follow. So how it is now being taken out to the public or communicated is what might be creating confusion. But we have been with this, but we have created awareness. They have just not complied. That's what I can say, yeah.
So the action you've taken is to demolish property belonging to 1,000 poor people. That's what it looks like.
Yes, please.
You agree?
The numbers, we are doing the inventory of that. We shall get the exact numbers, yes.
Couldn't you have moved them beforehand?
I beg your pardon?
Couldn't you have moved them beforehand?
As I told you, the restoration order gives them that option to leave. They chose not to go. They waited for us to take the next course of action. And you can see that.
Demolish 3 houses first.
No, first finish the line you're saying.
Yes. I beg your pardon?
You're saying that the restoration order gives them time and so on.
Yeah, 21 days. By the way, you are given 21 days within which to take to demolish.
Yes.
And that was 2016, 2018.
Yeah.
You understand? So a lot of time went there and they kept constructing. So the fact that they did not do that, and that restoration order, even if we gave you 2016, it still remains in force up to the time that its conditions or what was set in there is fully, implemented.
You know, Mr. Francis Abino,
yes,
NEMA is looking bad at the moment because there are so many other places to demolish. But you went and fell upon this small prey, these poor people of Luigi, and you've demolished their property. And that's how it is presented. That's what it looks like.
I don't think that we are going to end in Lubiji. We are just starting there.
You've had many years, and you say
as I told you,
you've had many years to make corrections all over the place.
But I've told you that we were mobilizing resources. We need resources to do that. It is never too late. It is never too late. This action which has started is going to continue. So what we need from you, people in the public, and those of you who have got capacity to reach to other people, please help us communicate the thing properly. It is not that we've just started and we are targeting only Lubiji, no.
Or maybe you're unaware, because I live close to the lake, and you should see what the lake is doing to homes at the moment, and the lake is doing your work. Maybe if you had started with all those people, it would have been a lot safer.
But even when the lake does that and the water level recedes, people go back. Do they say now, the other time, the lake came and half of my building was submerged? They go back
because NEMA is nowhere.
So when we start like this, have some faith in us that things are going to progress. If you don't have faith in us, at least you will see with the time that we are able to do a good job. And I'm telling you are going to thank us later. For now, things look just a blame game on NEMA.
Honorable Ssemujju. Mr. Ogwal says, have faith in them and you will thank them later.
That we are doing a good job.
Technically, it's correct.
Yes.
You see, I have people who have settled.
Let me first welcome Nanfi. Welcome to the gang. Marianne Kasule Nanfuka, welcome to the gang.
Good morning to us.
Honorable Lydia Wanyoto Mutende, big sister of Mbale City.
Thank you, Oskar. Good morning to our listeners and viewers, and I'm happy to be in the good morning. Yes, I'm big sister of Mbale State. Thank you, and greetings to the people of Mbale State. They are all listening. Even your friend Chisesi Robert and all the others have sent you greetings. There's one Wandulu who promised to give me coffee, but I think I'll bring it next Saturday. He sent gang Arabica coffee to come. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Back to you.
You see, people who have settled the villages of Bukasa, where they intend to construct a port, Chito, Namatawa. NEMA, as usual, are mechanical. And they are usually...
The keyword you've used is as usual.
Yes.
And when you say mechanical, you're putting it in a bad light.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes under pressure, they come to evict people and pretend that it is their own initiative. When they came to evict people in my area, they gave the same notice. Mobilized military, and they were supposed to move more than 20,000 people. Luckily, Namuganza brought President Museveni. When Museveni toured, he then shifted the blame back to NEMA, National Forest Authority, and government agencies. And the question was, where were you when people were settling here? You are now dealing with 20,000 people. Those who settled there first have sold, even the second party has sold. You're now dealing with a formal settlement with people who don't even have no idea that what you are dealing with was once a wetland. You can go to Natet and see. What was a wetland now is a tax park, is life. And that's why when you are dealing with international agencies, I'll give you an example. Sometimes we have survived when government is going to do major construction. For example, the African Development Bank, even a bird, if you have a project to do, you will have to shift that bird and take it somewhere. The other day we were with Andrew on TV, and he said part of the reason road construction in Industrial Park has delayed, that UK had told them there is a particular snail. Was it a snail? And a frog.
I beg your pardon?
Yes.
A what?
And they said
there's a species of a frog and snail that only exists in some pond, some place in Namamve. And if you're going to do a road or do anything there, you must shift it elsewhere. And the government of Uganda has so far been unable
to shift the snail and the frog.
Those snails.
And the roads have delayed. So when you are dealing with human life, when you are dealing with human life, because if you can make provision for a frog and a snail, and you stop road construction in a major industrial park.
No, usually we stop construction when there is even a grave.
Yeah. So there can never be any justification, Oskar, whether by law, whether by what, to go and treat human beings on whose behalf you are clearing a wetland like they did. You must be heartless that you deal with human being in the way that you did. Because you see, government exists because of the people. You make provision, even if it is costly, make arrangement to shift them. Because quoting Museveni, he said, you slept on the job. That's what he told NEMA. That's what he told the Forest Authority. In fact, my villages of Chito, Bukasa, and Namatawa, the agreement with the Minister of Works was that don't compensate them for land because the land is not theirs. But everything they have put on this land, please compute and compensate, and they have done so. Because how can you be a government without standards? That you come to Bukasa, Chito, and then you say, because government agencies slept on the job, we must find money and make people move. And then you compensate. And then in Rubiji, you are moving from one radio station to another to justify that the law says 21 days, and then you go and end human life. You cannot find a justification, I am telling you.
Okay.
In fact, for me, I was telling him when we are coming here, and I think what people need to do is now to look for where NEMA people also stay and begin demolishing their houses for them to feel.
What it feels.
Yes.
Ssemujju says a government without standards. And government spokesman, I should, you Francis says, can I respond? Ssemujju says no.
You take notes.
I want to caution you that you are the government spokesman.
Yes. Yes.
And that you're on Francis's side.
Yeah. First of all, this is not only...
looks like an office of wildlife authority. The way it's dressed.
Well,
you're most welcome, Honorable Abdu.
This is not just with wetlands. It is with the road reserves. It is with every public space. I mean, we have spent now 20 years. We can't relocate. We can't reorganize border and taxi stages. And because of the nature of the society we deal with and the economy, the government has taken a deliberate, painful, but patient to deal with borders in Kampala. The president has intervened and said, no, since this is the only survival, they have means of survival they have, let's go slowly. Educate them, eventually probably we shall remove them. And I think that's why I agree with the Honorable Ssemujju that if we can do this with the borders in Kampala and other urban areas.
I'm recording this show.
Why can't we have
that you
similar standards of being patient, educate people, because as a government we failed. Because we failed, first of all, we are the ones who license people to import here about the borders. They pay tax. They go and buy fuel. So you would be heartless after people have imported border to all of a sudden just say, stop. So I think that standard we need to have.
The government has a heart.
We need to have that you do similar, you exercise the same patience with the people who entered a wetland while you were looking.
Yes.
You did not stop them, because I asked Ogwal, I said, people cleared, ferried bricks, yes, you issued those notices. Why didn't you go at that point to say stop construction? And he's saying resources. It is not those people who denied you resources, and therefore you need to be patient. How can we be a government that does these things? Yes, we know that the law does not distinguish between a poor man and a rich one if you break the law. But we also know in this country that the rich can get away with. So there is impunity. There is impunity. Maybe those people in Rubiji said, but the president went to Quito. People who are under the similar circumstances, he paid them. Let me also build in mind, when eventually they come, somehow we shall reach the president, and I believe you me, yes, the president has said, please vacate peacefully, but I know he's going to call the various agencies, and like he's saying, and you see, his argument doesn't even fly. He says that they will count the affected people after. I thought by the time you went to demolish, you knew you should have taken the number, so you know the number of people you are dealing with. So my hope is that the president, the government in this case, will eventually make good for the fact that its agencies slept on the job, came and did high-handed activity eviction. It doesn't look good. Yes, you're implementing the law. Even when you're implementing the law, you don't have to be high-handed. We have been condemning rearists or suspects within the court precincts in the manner in the manner they have happened. So we cannot condone high-handedness. Yes, you should implement the law, but have an even hand.
Okay. Francis Sabino Ogwal is making copious notes. Let's have Lydia before you. Yes, you continue writing. Yes.
I think of course NEMA is holding on to the law, but beyond the law there is a social responsibility and mobilization. Everybody is asking whether that area of Rubiji is not under an LOC system, or even those areas don't have elected leaders. Because you must have those people on your file, and they must sensitize people. I'm surprised you don't know the number of people who have affected your area of work. How many people are in Rubiji? You must know. And you must know them by family, by name, by LOC. Because you're going to have masqueraders. How sure are we that these old women who have been crying on, NBS and other TV's talk shows have been running very emotional stories, narratives of people who have been affected. Are they the real ones? Are they those old women, the pregnant women crying? Are they the real owners, or there is some campaign against them? And you think you get away with it? You must know if those people who are being interviewed, how come that the media is looking for? Are you just targeting pregnant women, people with crying babies, old women? They bring a woman on TV saying, I've been here for 60 years. When I was in Munyonyo, there was a meeting for the SDGs in Munyonyo. The president said that when they were capturing Kampala, there was nobody in Rubiji. I was just laughing, taking notes. Because now there was a woman who said, I've been here for 60 years. But capturing of Kampala was 86. So you see the contradictions. You went with your machines and the law. I see you have already an overused this constitution here. This constitution looks very used, but this is not enough for the community. You must have a file that talks about the households. No, I mean, the reality in the community. It's not just the law walking around with your law. You remember what the head of the... let me tell you about how your laws can be actually abused. Remember what the head of the Muslim community, Prince Nachibinge, said on Eid Day. I've not forgotten his statement. He said that if laws in Uganda are against the people, please change them. That's what he said. And was speaking to corruption, but also these other actions that do not speak well to the community. He said change them, or even abuse of office or impunity. So you cannot walk to Rubiji, even your constitution has stickers. These stickers are good. It looks old because it's overused. It's good, but what's the reality in Rubiji? Did that old woman whom they brought on NBS, another one with babies, another one pregnant, are they the real affected people there? Or there's also another campaign to malign the work of NEMA? Recently, we had a very unique heat. I don't know whether people observed that. 2-3 days, it was hot. You couldn't even look outside. These are signs of climate change. So we must balance management of climate change. Uganda is one of the most beautiful countries in the world with the best climate ever. We cannot afford to tamper with the environment or with climate by tampering with wetlands, which balance the ecosystem. But how are you doing it, I think, is the debate today. How are you doing it? Do you want people? Are you trapping people? Let them go there, then you come and hammer them. Your power is good, but it's not enough. I mean, you are powerful. You have you have these big trucks which are pulling down, but that's not what you want. You want a preventive campaign. Let's have a preventive campaign, and you have the structure of leaders. That Rubiji area falls under an LOC. There's an elected leader who passes there, a councillor. There's an area of MP. It must be in somebody's constituency. What are they doing to mobilize people to get out of there? They could do compensation coming there, but at least let's have a clean bill of action. That is my contribution today, because now you are fighting and your work is being put in bad light. Yet it's a good cause. It's even in the law. But because of the way you have done it, you said you gave 21 days, but can the LOC one speak to it? Yeah. Can the councillor speak to it? 8 can years. The area MP speak to it? What about the chief that area is under a sub-county, which has a chief. It's under a city, which has a city clerk or an assistant city clerk. Have they owned this important campaign? Or it's just these demolishing bulldozers we are seeing, and the law and the constitution are all around. The NEMA Act, the 1995 Constitution, even our own lives, even the climate change, they are all good. But the process to enforcement, like you've said, nobody wants enforcement. But let's have it done, but also with the right campaign. You have a gap in the campaign, and the negative forces have overtaken you. Your campaign has been overrun by people who have negative intention.
It's to implement your policies, because we all know NEMA should ideally, we need it. So we can't do away with it. So if you then
get Patricia to give you a bottle of water, Nanfi.
Yes. So in short, NEMA, there are better ways of doing this.
Yes, Patricia, the producer, get Namfi some water. So, and Lydia. Lydia, I have Mutdeu on Twitter, on X, formerly Twitter, says Lydia should use the same energy on Mbale Industrial Park too. It's a wetland and recently was flooded. I tell you, Francis, the messages on X.
Government compensated.
Pardon?
Can I respond?
Government compensated for the destroyed property in that industrial park. Yes.
Yes.
Well, but that government gave them that wetland. Probably NEMA gave them. Probably they must have been given a certificate.
And then I have Kaima says, what's this NEMA guy saying? There's a proper construction going on in a wetland in Nalia. Okay, they have never been stopped. That's construction. Another
National
one,
Medical Stores is in a wetland.
In Kajansi.
Yes.
Yes. Opened by the president was very surprised, I must tell you,
Exactly.
to find that it is in a wetland.
And yet NEMA is doing nothing, but it's picking on Omuntu
And he
wa
said
wansi.
demolish. Kajansi, people are sending in all sorts of messages. I don't know if we have some in Idudi wetlands. Welcome, Honorable Kantuntu. And what do you have to say to Mr. Ogwal, representative of his ED? I did say to him his ED is a very clever person by sending Francis Abino Ogwal to the hot seat.
Yes, sir. I was one of the legislators that enacted the NEMA Act. And it didn't come out of nowhere. It was a deliberate act.
It included demolishing property?
Yes, it does. Before we even start blaming NEMA, maybe you blame the MPs and the government. But I don't think we made a mistake. You see, this debate I've been hearing around this table reminds me of my primary 7 debate of mother is better than father, fire is better than water. Because at that time, Oskar, you're the teacher. It was about to improve oratory skills and listen to arguments, but it doesn't make sense. Do we have to protect our environment or not? We either protect it or we perish. There is not, and colleagues, dear listeners, we either protect this planet Earth or we are in trouble. And it's not about Uganda, Oskar. It's the world all over. You've had the Paris documentations and meetings and so on. The world is faced with a real crisis of climate change. And we must put our heads together to sort it out. And one thing is, it doesn't matter. We must start on a sensitization campaign and tell our people that we must protect. You see, we may have some short-term gains by abusing the wetlands. Short-term gains. But in the long run, I will not be here, unfortunately. 200 years later, when this beautiful planet Earth becomes inhabitable, it will be your great-grandchildren there. These ones whom Lydia is talking about, the women pregnant, these ones who are going to be being produced, are the ones who are going to feel the effects of climate change. Whether it is drought, whether floods, whether it is floods and so on, like we are seeing in the world all over. Just yesterday, you saw what happened in Mecca. People were just dying on the streets. Just real dying, walking and collapsing on this yesterday.
Heat.
It is real. Where I would like the NEMA to really to listen to the people. You get it? Is one, why do you allow it to happen? Because that's a very, very big point. You must prevent it. Two, where I don't agree with you is to say that, okay, these ones who are, there is, for example, if I were you, I would have started with that police station in Rubiji. Yes, there is a police station there. So why didn't you start with the police station, then you started with these other small ones? So you must, Oskar, the just must not only be done, but it must be seen to be done. done. Because when people look at you and say, look here, these guys are really worried that everybody is abusing the environmental legal regime, all of us should be equal before the law. There should be no rich one and there should be no poor one. Then people take your actions in good faith. However, if you start doing it selectively, I'll give you an example, Oskar. If they had started with the rich ones, the poor ones would have run away. They would not have even waited for you to come. If you went and started with the police station, I'm telling you, nobody, these pregnant women you are talking about would have fled. Said, no, I think this thing is too big. But you can't start with the small one, the most vulnerable, and then you leave this other one, then you justify these actions. So to me, yes, we must do it. This country, Oskar, if we cannot sort out this problem, soon or later, it will be sorted out anyway. But when you sort it out, it becomes more expensive. I'll give you an example. Maybe if Rubiji had been sorted out 20 years ago, it would be cheaper than it is today. Because there would have been fewer people who would have been affected. There would have been fewer developments. But you allow these things to go on, then they come in. And where my problem I have with the compensation, because you want now to misuse our money. Compensation is not government money that it is their government. This is people's money, taxpayers' money. Some of them who even respect what? Environment. You contribute and so on. Then they get you and they compensate the other one who has impunity. You get it? So to me, you need to make sure that act in time. And I think it is either Lydia or Oskar or Nanfuka was right on this. If you don't act on time, you create problems for yourselves and the public. And then when you come in with a human face. The operation should don't come just thumping mucho. I am here. I can do whatever I want. The law is there. I don't have any problem in implementing the law, but the law should be implemented with a human face. And if you don't do that, then we become diversionary. People will not look at actually what the mischief of environmental protection. They will be looking at a Mr. Ogwal who is here on a hot seat. And certainly the seat will become hotter for you.
Ssemujju said they should also evict Mr. Ogwal.
Can you imagine?
Well,
because the seat is becoming hotter.
The seat is...
Ssemujju is a mobster.
No, I am not. They should feel the pain.
But you see, the problem is because you see when... Mobster, even NEMA was also acting more or less like a mob when they come pop.
Indeed.
So it's the two wrongs don't make a right. We need to protect the environment, and that we must be very serious about it. Right. But NEMA, you must improve your act.
Abdu, I'm pleased that you finally realized what the issue was. It was not a P7 debate. It was more like university PhD. Yes.
But no. None of you made it.
After taking you to P7, it was about humanity.
No, but you see,
but Abdu, my father's son, none of us here says people should abuse the environment with impunity. No. We are simply saying NEMA went to sleep, like many government agencies go to sleep, and when they come, they now want to address their incompetence in a high-handed manner.
I wish on
poor people.
Because before we came here, we asked him, we asked Ogwan, we asked Ogwan, why Starbucks? We asked Ogwan why Starbucks petrol station was left, and he made an excuse for them. He said they have abused the terms on which they were given that area, because he said they were given a dry place, but they have even encroached.
You give him two microphones.
Yeah, but Oskar, as I do,
was now trying to find the reason
as I do,
why Starbucks is not knocked down.
If I have understood Abdu, because I didn't find something significantly different from what we said. You see, the same government has made money available to resettle people affected by landslides. After telling them, please don't settle at a mountain. They went ahead and settled there. And then they came down with the landslides, but government had to find money to go and see when government exists to serve people, whether they have made a mistake or not. You cannot say one protect environment because even the human beings are themselves environment.
Yeah, okay. Where I disagree with you is to make a case that you are justifying them being there.
No,
that's where I disagree with you.
There is no justification.
Where somebody says the mother is better than this, you should have. You need first of all to make a case for NEMA. First, it is fundamental. After you've met, not NEMA the institution, but the protection of the environment.
Oskar.
And that's where I differ with you.
Oskar, before Mr. Gwao comes on air, I want to know, is he going to do this for Kawempe, Naweru, Bwaise, Natete, Kajansi, because all those people are in wetlands.
Nanfuka, there's a Carl in Kampala who has never agreed with you openly. For once agrees that encroachment is not only in wetlands, encroachers do the same on dry private land and build at night. So, over to you.
Thank you.
Two microphones.
I need to have another question as it comes.
Okay, ask it.
To me, it's not about the Kawempes and so on, because those are still the most vulnerable. I want to know whether, including the so-called elite, rich people, if they have floated the NEMA, whether NEMA legal regime, whether you are ready and you are waiting and you promise this country that we are also coming there. If you do that, Abdu, then we take in good faith.
Abdu, Crispy Kaheru is listening in from Ibanda, and he says, stop lynching the man.
Mr.
Oskar.
Yeah, thank you. Oskar, as you can see, I'm alone, and these are like 5 people.
Yes, and Ssemujju says that you lynched people in Luigi. You should be lynched here.
But
the Moses law.
I would like to appreciate the submission of Honorable Kantuntu there. I think there are some good points he has raised, but of course he has also raised some concern on what we need to do as NEMA. But first to say that for all our leaders, members of parliament, the district people, I want to pose this question. What do they do to tell the people to use the environment as required? Do they do anything there? Because NEMA cannot be everywhere. You cannot be a member of parliament and at the same time you only wait to defend the people against the wrong they are doing on the environment. What first of all have you told them initially? When it comes to the environment that you live, where you come from, you see them going in a wetland and you don't say anything. When NEMA has come on board, then the whole thing is politicized. I think let's all come together and realize that we have a role to play. Whether you're a member of parliament, whether you're a local leader, everyone has a role to play. And the law, as you've seen them, I've carried some copies, is very clear. The Constitution itself gives you as individual the duty to protect the environment. The act is on the same. So even when you've not protected the environment, like the people you now see we are taking action, it is because they have also failed at individual level to protect the environment. So that is first thing we need to know, that everyone has a duty to protect the environment. So when you are pointing at NEMA for not doing anything, you are pointing at yourself. Please, let me also have the floor, because you had your chance. And then on Starbucks and the police,
you continue.
That we needed to remove the police, and we're in discussion to relocate this police station, because at the time when listen, can you let me submit, Honorable Ssemujju?
On your microphone.
At the time
your two microphones
when the expressway was being constructed, there were concerns there about security, that there were many thieves around. So that just came as a temporary measure, but it's going to be relocated to another place. And then the other one is on the Starbucks, as you could have heard Opondo saying earlier. We gave them approval, fine, plus there's another one, kombucha around there, the same place. They were supposed to be only on the dry part. But as you know, for most people, they will really run around accusing them for not approving their development, even when they say are going to be in an area X and not a wetland. But we immediately get it. Somebody is going to be on their top every day. They do the wrong thing. So we are investigating, and we shall definitely take action. That is... Please, Honorable.
You're on your microphone.
I'm going there.
Don't worry, you continue.
I'm going
only
there.
Your microphone is on.
I'm going there.
Just try.
Now, I'm trying to go. I will end, I think, with the Honorable Ssemujju with his call for our buildings to be demolished. I'll end up with that one. But then there is the part where there was a mention about environmental levy, that a lot of money comes under. True, but that money ends up in the consolidated farm, doesn't come to NEMA. Then we...
it is not even him.
Yes.
It's us again. Because you see, if you've lobbied money for, or not lobbied, if you levied money for environment, why don't you utilize it for environment? You use it instead to do other things, and yet you've levied it as an environmental levy.
Okay,
that is now beyond NEMA, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if this money is going to a consolidated fund, instead of going...
Have you raised this with Parliament?
Several times. Every time there's a budgeting framework, we have done that several times. So...
Yeah. Go on, Francis.
So somewhere we have to take it also that NEMA has been let down, the government agents have been let. The other one is about sleeping on the job. Did we sleep on the job? But as I gave the history earlier, we didn't really sleep on the job. Awareness creation has been going on to the point that when awareness could not yield much, we said these ones who are not listening, let's give them the restoration orders. Perhaps they will listen. They have not. And that is why you see us now moving to this next level of enforcement. So it is not that we just came in and started the high-handedness. No. There was a stage we followed. And then about, talking to people versus the border and so forth. You see, when you look at environment, the space is small. It is the same. Lubiji will never expand in area. Now, if we say we don't enforce at all, we keep talking, more people are going to keep going on there. By the time you finish your awareness, there is nothing like a wetland left there. So the two may look alike, but they are not too close. So for the environment, action is also needed as we do the awareness. And then the LC system of the area. By the way, the environment management is decentralized. The local area, the LC1, the district, they are supposed to have done what you see us doing, but they're not doing it. And you ask yourself then, what is the problem? Why are they not doing it? Now, the old women and the pregnant women being paraded, that is, I think, really the unfortunate bit of it. When people will shift to more or less attract attention of the public and sympathy and put us off from what we are trying to do. Honestly, they should have first of all gone and looked at how NEMA has systematically gone to try to have these people not to be there, but they have not listened. So when you go and target such a person, it changes the way the public is seeing what NEMA is doing, because it already biases the way people should view NEMA at that point in time. I think the media should help us better. Let's focus on the issue. Let's look at what needs to be done. You are talking about Lubiji, which actually holds the floods or the water from the hills in Kampala. Look at Kampala the way it is. Hill area, they used to talk of it as being a city of safe, but now it is more. So the way God designed it was that water will be coming from those hills. But down there you have the wetlands.
You see, Francis,
yes.
You are also avoiding the issue. We agree with you on all those things, and everyone has said that. The point is, you went and evicted poor people first in your enforcement. So now, having made that mistake, and there's a tongue-in-cheek message here from Frederick Karamaji, says, did the police post in Lubiji help NEMA with the evictions? So, you should now be spelling out what you are going to do in future, what plans you have, so that, as Abdu said, so that some people who are in the wetlands start to get scared. So do you have any such plans?
Well,
Environment Protection Police.
Go on, Francis.
Yes. Thank you, Oskar. For me, some other points I've not yet touched, but to answer that question, and I think Honorable Ssemujju just said it. Now, we have got provision in the Environment Act that gives us that permission to recruit our own force called Environment Protection Force. We've started recruiting them. Now, that is a force that we are going to directly supervise. We've been working with the police. But now we have the force that is going to be directly under supervision of NEMA. This activity is not going to end Lubiji. This activity is going to go on. But we need to really take on board that what NEMA is doing is not for the benefit of NEMA. This is for the benefit of the communities. People are thinking NEMA is doing this for their own, I don't know, benefit. No, the environmental benefit is for the local people who are around there and all of us. Somebody talked about, Honorable Kantuntu talked about climate change. You just imagine that it rains in Kampala here or in Uganda for like 2 consecutive days, heavy rains, and all the water goes to these wetlands like the Lubija and others. We will need to evacuate those people. Property and lives could be lost there. Why are we waiting for such moments? Other than telling people
to settle.
No, but
stay there for 6 years and so on.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop them from carrying out an illegal activity. It doesn't.
You are insulting our intelligence.
No, please.
That we don't appreciate the question of climate change and so on. So
I'm only informing you. I'm not saying
that's well
so.
understood.
Yes.
Probably the people who are in Burundi are the ones who don't understand. Our concern is that government institutions, and in this particular case, NEMA, did not do sufficient work until today. Because we are saying somebody does construction for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and you are looking on, you are making the excuse of money. That's okay, that's understood. We all know that the government doesn't have enough money. Now, when you come at the tail end, and then you are high-handed, the way the public has perceived you, and you seem not to appreciate the high-handedness, which is the major concern. Nobody is saying you shouldn't evict people. Nobody is saying you shouldn't evict people. Maybe there are those who are saying don't evict, but on this table, we are not saying don't evict people. How do you do it?
Okay, let me say this, Mr. Opondo. If there are challenges that are emerging from the way we are carrying out activities, we are definitely going to draw lessons from there and see how to, correct them. But this is not something you expect that mistakes will not. It may occur here and there because you are dealing with human beings when you go there. But up to now, I think the high-handedness which you're mentioning about, we shall hear the feedback if certain things were so extreme.
Francis, that's the most profound statement you've made on gang. Let's stop for a break.
The Capital Gang on Capital FM with Uganda Martyrs University in Kozi. Capital FM's Capital Gang in association with Uganda Martyrs University in Kozi, making a difference.
Welcome back from the break. Uganda Matters University Nkozi invites applicants for both undergraduate and postgraduate programs for the academic year 24-25. For postgraduate programs, one must have attained a bachelor's degree from a recognized university. For undergraduate programs, we welcome applicants with a minimum of 2 principal passes. We offer unique programs at our various campuses, Nkozi, Rubaga, Fort Portal, Masaka, Mbale, and Geta. To apply, visit our website or any of our campuses. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang in the hot seat. Mr. Francis Abino Ogwal from NEMA. There's a Wetaka from Mbale. He's also asking you, what is the state of Mbale Industrial Park? They are worried. And Abdu, is that the East African? You read that tongue-in-cheek as well.
The Rubigi area has been cleared for a shadow investor to occupy it. Just give it time and see how new buildings shall elect there. But he did put elect instead of erect.
Right. So, your own microphone. Let me take a photograph of you with your 2 speakers. Conclusion.
In conclusion, thank you, Oskar. First, let's just coexist with nature. I heard people saying that a bird is more important than human beings, frogs, and what have you. You see, God created all these things to function as an ecosystem. You need those birds, you need the insects, you need all those because they help you in your food production, the pollinators. If you destroy the environment, I don't know whether you're going to turn around and pollinate your own crops. So let's really do what it needs to protect. I don't know. I don't know whether that will be possible. It can't be. So let's look at nature as something that functions as an ecosystem. Not because this area, let's clear all the forests, let's just clear all the wetlands and settle there, and you hope that nature will continue to function as it were. No, it won't not. And you will have more problems ahead. Food insecurity, flooding, what have you. So in my conclusion, let's work together as a team to make this environment a better place. We all have a role to play. You are just putting NEMA out there and flogging it all the time. But what are you doing? What are you doing as an individual? If you are not doing the correct thing on environment, you're also another culprit that we need to deal with. Thank you so much. And then the other issue about coming to demolish our houses. I think that is an incitement, which Honorable Ssemujju, we have to condemn you for that.
And Mbale.
Yeah, what was the comment there?
They are worried about the flooding. What are you doing about it?
Well, I think already the design to handle those floods were put in place, so the engineers will continue to see how to address it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Francis Abino Ogwal, Senior Manager, Environment Planning and Coordinator of NEMA. And I must tell you, follow the discussion on X, formerly Twitter, because they are naming some places I would not like to read out on national radio.
Can I request that one time we can have a show about environmental protection? Yes, because I think according to Nanfuka, and I agree with her, mixing it with the discussion now, we may not move far. But the situation is getting worse. The situation is getting worse.
Very true.
And I think NEMA itself needs to find a way of dealing with the Mutua wants to help them appreciate.
Thank you, Francis. I'll let you go now.
Thank you.
Mr. Opondo, government spokesman. Another MP was arrested this week on corruption. I just need to understand, to begin with, maybe from Abdu's lawyer, a senior lawyer, because we have 3 lawyers in the house. When someone is being arrested, is there a mandate to search your house, or do they have a search warrant, or they just, because they're arresting you, they enter the house and take things out?
Those are normal investigations.
Oh,
those are normal investigations.
Normal investigation. I enter, you come into your house, carry all these things, and
yes.
Criminal investigation is interesting.
That one, and the police is very good at that. Actually,
at collecting.
There are those forms you fill in. There is an inventory. There is a witnessing. They search in your presence. All those are normal police investigations.
Like if there's a box of money, they put it on the inventory, and
they do. And
when they went to his home the other day.
So let's start with you, government spokesman, on the update. Since we have cleared the issue of the law.
You see, what's happening in Parliament is similar to what we're talking about with the NEMA and people who encroach on the wetland. I think we are at that stage where members of Parliament take themselves, or some of them take themselves as the institution. And so you can see impunity spreading. Members of Parliament do things that are really weird and somehow expect that they will not be taken on. You can hear how they speak, especially when they're in the House, not just the floor, but so when the Constitution gave Parliament mandate to do oversight, I think there are people who have taken that they can do that oversight for self-enrichment. And so many things have been taking place there. So Honorable Ssemujju and I were parliamentary reporters. I was a journalist there for a long, long time. And even at that time, members of Parliament, particularly in the committees, were abusing their authority in the committees. They would harass.
So it's historical.
It is historical, except now it has kind of gotten out of hand, and so leads us to where we are. That members of Parliament, some members of Parliament, are being accused of designing plans to steal money. In this particular case, the two cases, the ones who use the budget harassing accounting officers. Of course, accounting officers, many of them are complicit. They work with them. Not just accounting officers, but general civil servants who work with them because they know how money is hidden. And this is when you hide, and I told you my case, where a chairperson in the previous parliament asked me to add 6 billion.
6 billion?
Yes, on my vote, so that we can share. Then I said, but how will I withdraw? But you are not the accounting officer. And I'm not the direct accounting officer. Yes. No, I get subvention, but my accounting officer is a permanent secretary. I said, but how will I go to my PS and say there's this 6 billion for the following reasons? Maybe we can share. How will it happen? So anyway, so that's one case. Then this one where people came up. First of all, they're the ones who generated it. Our constituencies are asking you dissolved cooperative societies. Government need to compensate, so they work backwards. In some cases, they actually create fictitious cooperative societies. They generate names, lists of names of members of that cooperative society, and then they come. They say, work with the Minister of Trade. They say, this cooperative society is in my constituency. They are bothering me. So they build. How much are they demanding? 5 billion. They go backwards, try to verify documents. They go to banks and so on and so forth. So that's the case of the Michael Mawanda MP Igara East, I think. Akamba Paul, and Mudimi. And Mudimi had that problem of land in the Bulambuli there with somebody who's now a minister, where the people of landslides were settled. And actually, it's a wetland, by the way. Where this boy settled in the Bulambuli there is a wetland. You can go and check. So anyway, so they make fictitious. Sometimes it is the cooperative society actually exists and has some claim against the government, but they bloat the claim. In one case, I'm told, one of these MPs made a claim, and you even ask, why would the government pay an MP? So with the lawyers, the lawyers in this town are in trouble over this money, by the way. The lawyers, the bankers. This MP gets 2 billion. He goes to this cooperative society and he pays only 50 million. So he keeps 1.950 billion to himself. Ooh. Yes, this is the accusation. For example,
how much?
This accusation against Michael Mawanda. He was given 2 billion for a cooperative society. He goes to the cooperative society and gives them 50 million. So he keeps 1,950,000. That's the allegation. in some cases, the cooperative societies actually don't exist. So this is the accusation. So far on this one, we have 3 MPs
who have been named.
I think they were charged yesterday. And remanded. And I'm told
this is in addition to the other ones.
The other ones of the extortion of the Uganda Human Rights Commission person. So you can even see, Wangari is a former deputy IGG. How foolish are these MPs that you go to a immediate former, by the way, IGG, and say, let's do this, give us part of your budget, 20%. I mean, it means either they didn't know her profile, and that goes to what Ssemujju and Abdu usually say, that some of them are tomato growers. Now, if you look at them, it is not easy. I don't think it is easy for the common, apart from their constituencies, that you can pinpoint for the Ugandans here who Akamba is. I don't think he's hard on the floor of Parliament. So he's busy in these things. It is amazing. It is amazing that these things are happening, but I think they are taking.
Are there more MPs that should worry?
From what we hear, there are many MPs. I think there are 35 in the case of the Cooperative, including big names from the opposition. I think
so far it has been an NRM thing.
I think it's better that we first talk with the NRM, so that by the time they reach the opposition, they don't cry foul. They don't cry foul, because if we had decided to do the opposition, they would have said it is politics. They are members of the opposition, very loud ones, by the way, from Buganda here, very loud ones. West Mengo, East Mengo.
You have said them.
Yes.
Honorable Ssemujju, more members should worry. But you know, when an MP takes all that amount of money, it is incredible. How do you take it out?
How much?
1.9 something billion.
But some MPs are rich. Maybe they are billionaires. You see, the two specific cases for which my colleagues have been arrested. One was the
requesting for 20% of the budget.
And then the one of Cooperative, even Parliament itself has done an investigation. The Committee on Trade and Tourism under the Honorable Mpaka. And the MPs, or some of the MPs, including the ones that are arrested, knew even from the parliamentary inquiry that there was a problem. And for me, first of all, this whole idea of compensation, I think it has been abused everywhere it has happened. From Ruwero war claimants, I was in yes, I was in Lango, I was in Teso, where we are still compensating. The numbers, I don't know. They don't end. You finish one group, another group emerges. Because government created a window that there will be money to be given to people who lost the property, even if you didn't lose. Then they will go through a verification. People who are verifying can add you, or if you are claiming 10 cows, they can make them 50. Because, like the case of
it's
NEMA,
just a question of adding you.
Yeah, I don't want to sound inhuman, but I think if you're a government that has gone to war to remove a government, you cannot walk backwards that you are compensating people who lost property during the war. Why? You fought a war and it ended. People died. Let life start from there. But 40 years later, we are still compensating Luwero, including people who were born 10 years when Museveni is in power. They are veterans. Veterans of Luwero, they have grabbed land here, they are. So the compensation, I think, was just a window to transfer some money to some beneficiaries, either in exchange for support. So that's where these MPs get into trouble, or whoever has gotten into trouble. I sit on the budget committee. First, the Minister of Finance sometimes has been making provisions available without naming the beneficiary. They put there 30 billion towards the compensation for Cooperative, and then those who are in the know will go around the country hunting down cooperatives. Where they existed or not, I don't know. And between the government system, either finance and attorney general, then they will give them clearance, and then money begins moving. So for me, I think all these compensations, I think that we are not well designed, but I think that I will be reluctant to undertake. But Mr. Museveni has been so happy to do so because maybe he knew what I don't know when they were fighting. First of all, they are the ones who were stealing coffee, mainly from cooperative society and other items. For example, in Masaka, when they took over the area in Masaka, I think the Honorable Jira Descender and David Mass, we are the ones helping them to sell coffee for the cooperative. They went to stores and picked it. They should have paid as individuals. We are paying Congo over $1 trillion shilling for gold and timber stolen when we are fighting there. So yeah, this compensation is a window, and they should never have undertaken it, but they did. So and
Ssemujju, there's a family that we've been compensating for 40 years.
Yeah, so
it never goes away.
People will keep emerging. I mean, if they say this money is available.
So you're saying these people might be accused of eating compensation monies?
The MPs. Yes, that's the accusation, that money was meant to have gone to the cooperatives, but the cooperatives received sometimes less than 1%. But they are the ones who are accused of having processed the money with the lawyers, and then the money remained in Kampala. So the cooperatives, wherever they exist, some of they are dead. Some of the people who are supposed to have been the beneficiary are dead. But like as usual, you correct some old men to claim that Muranda Cooperative Society. But Oskar, specifically on the issue of the budget, you see, in the argument of MPs accused of soliciting money, there are two things that the public will need to understand. First, some of the reallocation of money in Parliament is justifiable. Government entities come to Parliament with what they call unfunded priority. Some of them are really priority. They come without medicine, without this and that, and the budget committee will do that. But what people go to do after, I think every individual can pay for his party in it. But you cannot stop Parliament where agencies appear with lists of unfunded. For me, I have always asked agencies when they appear, a minister, you are part of cabinet, you have brought a budget before a Parliament. Your cabinet and President Museveni, who chairs it, have not given you money. Why do you cry before me? See, do you first go back to cabinet and Museveni and cry, and the money is added there? So this financial year, this budget that we have just finished, the unfunded priority totaled to 100 trillion. 100 trillion.
Unfunded.
So, unfunded, brought to Parliament by accounting officers, by ministers. And each minister, I don't know how many times.
If your budget is 58 trillion, how can you come with 100 trillion unfunded? It means you are unserious as a minister, as an accounting officer.
So the process eventually, I agree with you. The process sometimes can provide opportunities for individuals to abuse it.
Abuse, okay.
Because if I am a president, this is my budget. How can my minister go to Parliament to begin pleading with the MPs as if the work we are doing is personal? That please, this is very critical, but they have provided no money. Am I the one providing money?
Senior lawyer Abdu here. Is it true?
Yes.
That the lawyer of Mawanda said the clouds outside are very dark, and we fear it might rain on our clients once granted bail, and and it is safer for my client to be in prison. So,
question for bail.
Yeah, he was just being a good poet.
Yes.
And the point he was making is that even if I were to apply for bail and it is granted, some other thing will happen outside outside here. So he would rather advise his client to stay where he was. But having said that, of course, I'm aware and that there is this sub judice rule. So I'll talk a little bit calculatively. One, this whole process was kicked off in Parliament. And that is last year. The Mpaka committee investigated this matter thoroughly. And what I find people are raising now like it's something new, I just said they are not following. There is a report by Parliament which details exactly what went wrong. And when that matter came to the floor, the presiding officer said, no, the way I read this report, it will not be very useful for us as a house to debate it. I refer to police for further management. And this 2023, in December. And when you read that report, the details are in there. Very detailed. Case per case, cooperative per cooperative. The allegation is that money had been appropriated for that purpose and indeed released by Minister of Finance to cooperative societies all over the country. However, the managers of those cooperative societies, together with some leaders, when that money was released, and the lawyers who were handling those particular cooperative claims sat and did not remit those monies to the beneficiaries or the owners of those cooperative society. That is basically the case. And there are quite a number of cases, those which are already in court and those which may come up and so on. So that is what happened. But it shows you, to me, no leader will get the money except when the one authorized to release that money is a part of it. Because where will this MP get that money except when there is somebody who signs that check?
It's a racket.
Yes. And to me, as the present cases go on, we would like to see who are those people who are authorized to safeguard that money, first of all. Because many of those leaders were actually not signatories.
Either of the cooperative?
Yes. But somehow there was something which was done in between. So it's a little bit entangled, and I'm just waiting to see those who are really authorizing, those who are signing the checks. And then one thing, Oskar, money can be traced. That's money coming from a government system.
Follow the money.
Coming from a government system, it can be checked and so on. But these are all allegations, as they say. Let's wait for the court process to end.
Lydia, is there I know Mbale has always been a cooperative city. Are we talking about corruption? Are we talking about greed? When OO says it has gone out of, OO with Parliament, he always adds in his own spin. So you should have seen his smile at the beginning when he was talking about
exactly what he said is what he means. That you add in.
Well, what we are reading is, I think, diversion of money to what was not appropriated to.
Shocking diversion or business
because
as usual?
If money has been appropriated for a particular intention and then the end state is not achieved, that's what we are seeing. There is some diversion. It doesn't matter the amount, but the principle. That money was meant to go to Oskar, and then it didn't reach Oskar. It now ended up with Kantuntu. So that's what is being...
Maybe use other examples and not Oskar.
So that it's more direct. That's what we are seeing. Yes. But the beginning looks like it was a good intention, but along the way there was a diversion. And that's what is being now... handled. I mean, so not different from Gavi funds. You remember Gavi, the issue of Gavi funds? The same story. Money was meant for money was meant for.
Were actually fictitious.
Some of it.
So some of them.
So even the intentions may have been cooked.
Yeah. It is about the evasion of money. There's an element of abuse of office. Because if money is coming from a government entity, somebody is processing it, it means that the person in that office is also abusing the office by virtue of their being the authority that releases money. And then also the end person, there is maybe a cartel, a cabal. So we are, that's what we are witnessing, and we hope that the government processes will be able to do justice and taxpayers' money is not put to waste.
Hope, Lydia. You hope positively. You see this happening?
I hope, because many times there's this excitement that there's going to be justice, or taxpayers' money will not be put to abuse, and then somehow along the way it does not meet people's expectations. Courts of law are a different matter. Just a small document or a technicality can get somebody off the hook when the reality is that money was lost. Then there may be a technicality, maybe lack of proper evidence.
Well, the case
courts of law is a different game matter altogether, because our laws are clear. Somebody is not guilty until proven so.
Nanfi? For once, you're speechless.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Sometimes I get speechless because sometimes you have to wonder who is fooling who. Like when I listen to government officials talk and parliamentarians and government and the president, I keep wondering who is fooling who. Because number one, this isn't new. This has been going on for the last 20, 30 years. So we are here now pretending that there's a whole new problem and we are finding whole new solutions and that anything is going to be different. Oskar, it will not. There is a reason why Katolu Bwama, when elected as MP, he actually, when he was campaigning, he kept on saying, Nange mundekenge ndieko. He didn't hide it. And actually, it is resting in peace. These were his words. And actually, his constituents gave him a vote on that particular mandate, saying, so don't even fool Ugandans that we think these MPs are there to serve. They even sometimes they even say Abdu aluddeyo mu parliament aliddeko ekimala tuweeyo omulala. So we all know that the whole parliament, even these MPs go into that, they get into massive debt to get into parliament, knowing, because they know the salary is not going to pay that debt. They know what is going to pay that debt, the deals that they make in the corridors. I worked on a case of one of those cooperative unions that is compensated. And of course, for confidentiality reasons, I can't tell you where, but it's from the East. And let me tell you, Oskar, a government official lent, using Chinese money lender, lent this cooperative union money. The cooperative union at an interest rate of, I think it was 31-32%. Oh. Of course, the cooperative union. Yes. The cooperative union failed to pay. And then this government official comes and this particular Chinese and their ring, including the government officials, start taking over the cooperative union's assets one by one. So of course the cooperative union and their leader, who was also colluding with all this, went to government for a bailout. Of course then government bailed out this cooperative union and guess who ate all the money? From the cooperative union. So I come in as a tax consultant because of course you're a got wind of it, and they were like, well, whatever government gave you takes the form of your income, so we want this money. But at the end of the day, everyone from the head of the cooperative union, the money lender, the government people, the MPs who released the money, everyone was there to eat. And to this date, the union is still, the cooperative union is still a mess. And this was 2009, 2010, 2012, because the case came about 2016 when I was working on it.
So what you're saying is the rot is
deep, it's systemic. Let's not pretend that it started with these MPs. And let me tell you, as night follows, they will walk away with it. Where are the Mabati ones? Last year we pretended we were dealing with the Mabati, we entered their houses, we did this, we pulled off their trousers. Where are they? Nothing is still been, because everyone, including the people dealing with it, are complicit. And without accusing anybody, that is why one can even go to the IGG and start promising them money. Let me tell you, I was dealing with the Land Commission, which was set up to investigate the rot in land ministry and land and do you know how many bribes they were asking for my clients? And this is the Land Commission to deal with corruption. So, Oskar, when you start we fool ourselves when we start arresting these minions and small MPs to create an example and to try and placate the international community and the local community, because that is not where we should start. We have massive problems when it comes to corruption, especially in Parliament. Can we just shut down Parliament for the next 5 years? Maybe we start there. Or just reduce them and just reduce the whole, even Ministry of Finance. This is how it's done. Let me tell you, you should see the head budget at the ministry during this time when they are putting things in the budget. That man is like a god. Because you should see the corridors of that ministry. And I've been through them because my clients usually need priority for the financing. We have limited resources, but if we are taking 2 billion and giving it to one person, or we are buying generators for Anita Mong and expensive cars and giving them free houses, then your resource basket is going to waste. So yes, we have a problem there, but we have more massive problems, and I don't even know where to start, because I just see this as someone's trying to fool others, and then it's a pointless, gimmicky gesture on part of government, and no one is buying it.
Okay.
Nobody.
Let me ask.
Next year it will be forgotten, and thieves will be looting other things.
More than Mabati.
Yes, and then we'll still play the same pretend game and arrest a couple of people. I even fear to say moving on, but you sat in that chair. I was talking about was given another 37 billion in compensation just before the last election.
So the
Cooperative Union. Oh, yes.
And maybe the 37.
And that person is not even among the MPs who are being arrested. And no one is asking them where the money is. And like I said, follow the money. This money is not going into people's waste baskets and being channeled through sacks. No, this money is dropping on accounts. So if you pretend that you don't even know, then you also have a problem at the ministry. What is the Auditor General's job?
Okay. Greens Kansime on X, formerly Twitter, says, at long last, hunters are being hunted. Some MPs have been harassing officials in local governments and agencies and so on. I didn't know that happens. But he had also earlier said that every time we're starting a new government, we have Kisanja against corruption and so on, and here we are. But you sat in that very same chair, OO's chair, and you said, whereas you support Ssemujju's censure petition, it shall not go ahead. Now Ssemujju is feeling that his censure petition is not going ahead. Sabotage. Is it you responsible for the sabotage?
First of all, I said the abuse, the service award that the Mpogas gave themselves even before completing a term. Because how do you give a phone service award 5 months into his job, and his job is supposed to be 5 years? What are you thanking him for now? So that one I disagree with, that it shouldn't have happened.
Sorry, I forgot to ask. Did you go to Masaka? Did you go to Masaka?
No, I didn't, because I am not a NOP person. I think that was for NOP. And now I disagree with Ssemujju, because I said, Ssemujju, you have been absent from this parliament. God knows where you have been. You are coming into it just to seek attention. And I told him when we appeared on another show together with the Honorable Ssemujju here. And then I said, Ssemujju, in my view, and many of us in the NRM see him that way, he has been indisciplined to the NRM. And I said, NRM should not reward him by jumping on his antics.
But how can that be a reward? Someone who's calling out foul.
I'm saying, to be polite, he's not genuine in the things he's pursuing. Like many of those MPs of NRM who have signed that petition, they're not signing because of the 1.7 billion. No. Many of them had applied. Now they think they are sulking. So they are not sincere. 259 MPs of NRM
for 3 positions.
Applying for 3 positions. Are they serious? Is that yes? So the ones who are signing, majority of them, in my view, are not sincere, and therefore
you are off the market. People, and then, like 1,000 apply for a single job.
If
10,000 apply.
If you're ordinary person, yes, but I don't expect that of an MP. Now, I told Ssemujju, I said, I am going to mobilize NRM MPs to defeat your motion. Should you actually achieve 177, which is required to take a matter for debate, I will mobilize so that we are defeated on the actual vote now. So that
how many does he have now?
Well, that's why he's keeping it in his armpit. I think it is embarrassing, the law, and that's why you see he's crying. Oh, you see the sergeant at arms has removed my desk. Blah blah. So I am working to defeat Ssemujju's motion because I think it is not on principle.
Nanfi, how do you fight corruption in that case? You know, Because if someone is a whistleblower, it doesn't matter where they're coming from.
You see, for me, if
someone has taken up
was
a
telling
petition,
us that I'm defeating it on principle, but he makes a good point, he has a valid fight, then let me sit with NRM. We appoint another person who is not taking advantage and posturing. Who is not being opportunistic to lead the mantle. Then that is a different conversation, which I would like to hear from Ofwono. Exactly. So instead of saying Ssemujju is wrong, you see, wrong is wrong. And if you let rot, it's like saying I'm not going to treat my child because that particular child, my wife lied to me the last time about buying for them school things. So the child then dies. Because Ssemujju has a valid point. I'm not a huge fan. But you NRM people, give us someone else. Sit in SEC if you think he has a valid point. Because you've said he does have a valid fight, doesn't he?
But the leadership...
You condemn NRM, what those commissioners did.
The leadership of NRM in Parliament, I said their caucus will sit.
When?
As an NRM, I will wait for the position of my party.
When is it sitting?
So I cannot go with the NRM. And this is not the first time I'm doing it. You remember when the Honorable Ssemujju was fighting with the Amuriat in Andala. I said I'm not going to support Honorable Ssemujju. Why? Because he was busy throwing mud at NRM and President Museveni that we are the ones who are we are infecting bad money, dirty money into their politics, failing to deal with the internal issues of FDC.
But you're always here recently telling us about blind following. NRM should stop blind following. NRM should listen to critics. NRM should do the right thing.
I listen to Ssemujju.
But what you're doing there is blind following.
Ssemujju, who are you donating time to of the two?
No, I don't want to donate to any. You see, Oskar,
I've seen you eyeing. I've seen you eyeing.
I told you last time
with this argument
that the success of this censure is going to depend on the politics, not on the strength of the argument in the motion. And so far, that's what has happened. The people in Noob, almost everybody has got to sign because there is an order to do so. Those who associate with the Pirao, I think they all have been ordered to sign and they have signed.
What is Pirao?
This one of Museveni's son.
Oh, PLU.
Yes, including Mawanda. He also signed before he got arrested.
It was a nickname for a certain section of MPs.
He did, Mawanda signed.
No, he thought that was a cover. It would shield him.
So looking for numbers in Parliament, many of the MPs don't process their own independent decisions. Many. I remember when you're looking for signatures to call Parliament after the death of the Honorable Nevand, MPs can be funny. I remember Jim Wes came, he found him with Karang, and he said, I have come to sign. But can I look at the others who have signed? We went to one of the rooms. I was reluctant, but Karanga said the man has come to sign. After that, do you know what Jim did? He said, let me call... he called Kabonera and he said, let me call my wife. He said, Nasa in injury. And he didn't sign. He said, okay, let me first go and consult the wife. And this is not a film, it's things that happen. One time we went to collect a signature from an MP who was in Mukono. He said, you come. He parked his vehicle along the road and he took off. So many of the MPs don't process their own decisions.
Abdu, the calls I get in the afternoon. Ssemujju has added Nanfuka and Ssemujju makes me receive all these calls.
They don't process their own independent decision. That's why you see a matter like this, if you're going to sign, I don't think it's a matter that will stay in Parliament for a month, that you are collecting signatures for a whole month. When the MPs are there, they walk into Parliament every day and go away. So while the motion is legitimate, it's provided for under our rules, I think those who have signed, many are not signing because they have taken a decision that I am signing because I want to fight corruption. They are fighting because of politics. Those who are not signing are also doing so, majority because of politics. So that's why Ssemujju, but he has done his work. You see, he has kept the matter alive, the matter on TV and radio.
And in Parliament.
Yeah, that in itself puts Parliament on trial. And I guess people can pretend, but things will no longer be done the same way they are done in Parliament. So Ssemujju whether the NRM for Opondo want to render him support or not, he has actually keeping this matter over a month in Parliament every day. There are people who fear to come to Parliament. They don't want to sign, but they don't want to be seen that they have not signed. So for him, even if he stops here, I think the work he has done for over a month, he should congratulate himself. But the success will not depend on his mobilization skills or the content of the petition. It will depend. There are NRM MPs who will have to ask almost on every decision, what is Musoke thinking? Hey,
now they have to ask, what is PLU thinking?
Yeah. Hey, Musoke is happy or not happy. Then that's how they process decisions.
Yeah. Do you agree with Ssemujju that Sechikuba has done the work, whatever happens?
I think he has made his contribution, like he always does. People are asking whether or not the motion or what the was it called a motion? Censure motion will be. Well, so that's not the issue.
Yeah.
Even there are those which succeeded, but what was the outcome? You remember, there are those which picked his signatures in 1 week. The house was full. Then what? Then what? Then what? So I think that
in fact, then what?
Then what? So the 10th Parliament,
Minister Namuganza is still a minister.
You are in the 11th. Yeah, this is the 11th Parliament. You are 529 representing us, and you have put your best foot out there. We are watching, and then you will make your contribution. Others will come to the 12th. Others will leave. But people are watching what your contribution is to the country. So, but what is very clear is that people change even when they are leaders, depending on the situations that are faced with them. Nobody wants to put their skin to be eaten. The people play safe. That's the point I want to raise, and you cannot blame them.
Yeah.
Because times have changed. Have you seen what's happening in Kenya?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
I want to give it 5 minutes.
The current government used to lead riots in the streets, the leaders. Now there are people who are now leading streets, riots in the current, against the current government. You cannot believe that there can be a big riot bigger than what President Ruto used to run. But life is like that. And the biggest challenge that Ssemujju, maybe you can tell your colleagues to know, is that the 7th Parliament or 8th or 9th you talk about did not have the social media. Things have changed. This social media thing, this is the Generation Z, this thing is the Gen Z thing. If you do not watch what you are doing as leaders, the price is on the wall. It's written on the wall. So we have to be very careful.
Thank you, Lydia.
I'm not threatening anybody, but the issue of this revolution of the internet, it doesn't matter whether it's in law. I mean, we all went to school and somehow we learned about the French Revolution, and people just looked at the opulence of Marie Antoinette. They were counting the pair of shoes she puts on, her wardrobe, and then her saying that if you cannot afford the bread, why don't you eat cake? Just statements alone, among other things, caused the French Revolution.
Lydia has gone
just
into
opulence
literature
alone
and history.
can cost you.
Opulence and then Marie Antoinette. She can use other examples, but
no, the revolution, the history is before us.
She's a clever.
So today makes a valid point.
Today we have
the way, for example, the speaker is flaunting her wealth. The vulgar way in which she dresses up in these dresses of $3,000, $5,000, then parades her house she has built in the village in the last years. That alone
said he's not giving
can
you
even
his
the
time.
Kenyan rioters, they are saying instead of increasing taxes, cut back on spending. There is non-essential spending, there is essential spending. So these government officials, when you're squeezing people and squeezing the last cent out of them, then don't parade yourself like Marie Antoinette in a dress of $10,000. Okay. This is just common sense.
Abdu, your Sechikubo's lawyer.
But I didn't finish.
Gango.
Oskar, did I finish?
Yes,
because
we are out of time.
My space.
But I'd already said thank you, Lydia. Abdu, let's go to Abdu. I'll come back to you at the end. But Abdu, Abdu, you are formerly Sechikubo's Gango, and as his lawyer, maybe kept him in the other parliament before, still under NRM. And when he moans that his censure has been deliberately sabotaged, does he have a point?
First of all, I repeat what I said when this whole process.
That's why we're not going into the substance.
Yeah,
of
the
what's
substance
there.
of it. So excuse me and the audience that I'll not go into the substance by virtue of the responsibility I have in regard to misbehavior of members of parliament. But I can say one thing, that in parliament, and I have a little bit of short experience there.
In go
no, on the 23.
Your microphone is on.
When a process like that starts, you'll have those who don't agree with the process. So you have to compete with them. You can't say that if I start a process like this, everybody will be supportive. There will be a group that will not support that process. And the one that will not support that process would want it to fail at that level. So it is your responsibility to market what you have, and it's the responsibility of the other group that doesn't agree to fail it. So that's a normal parliamentary process, because you cannot, it's very rare that you have consensus, that you start a process and it is 100% supported by every member of the House. So I don't find that as new, but as I said, let's wait and see what happens.
Of course, but thank you. As we end the program, Nanfuka had wanted to talk about Kenya. We'll schedule it next week. But Abdu, is it good that we, in Tebe roads, that we have less sirens on the road?
I think that's the good news I had at the beginning of the week about a directive by the current CDF that one, we should have discipline on our roads by the military and all security people escorting VVIPs, and so on. Oh yeah, a big difference, I'm telling you, a very, very big difference. You see, we are, at the end of the day, we are all hustlers. We come to this road going to earn a living. You see, you have no reason to just say me. From the road, you have no reason at all. Sometimes you see these small little fellows somehow, and they also with these people chasing from the road. It's so annoying. It's nauseating, and sirens all over the place. So I thought that was a very good administrative order, and it was implemented immediately. I saw even roadblocks, and many of those vehicles, it caught them unawares. Many of them which had sirens were being arrested, taken to the police, and then impounded. And actually, they were even disconnecting. I understand the people at the police, immediately they reach there and you are not entitled, they disconnect that system and so on. You see, when we look at the law, there are specific vehicles which are entitled to right of way. For example, ambulances, fire brigade, the president is ambulance, sorry, convoy. But the rest, every Dick, Tom, and Ofwono is just on the road chasing people. You wonder what is this problem? It's a country.
Go on, finish off. Finish off.
So I think it was very good, and I hope it really stays for some time. There are those people who are entitled to security officers. Yes, if you're entitled to security, yes, but stay in the traffic and you have all your guards and so on. There are those who put on the army jackets on the what? On the assist. I think that was very good. Congratulations. I would like to thank General
CDF.
General
Ssemujju, Honorable Ssemujju, hold on, please. Honorable Ssemujju. So have you lost your convoy?
No, I don't have a convoy. But I want to tell you, in where you get it, because Ginger Road is, I think, the most congested.
Understand.
Between NEMA and where you get it, it's very difficult. The military people are there. At the beginning, that's what Museveni used to do, by the way. Military used to be on the road arresting military officers, either who have no permission to drive the vehicles or had no those things of theirs permission to even move. It went away. In Rwanda, it is still there. Maybe Moses has copied it in Rwanda. But I'm not sure because I haven't noticed a big difference in Weyogerere. The big people are still, so you have to give way. Because sometimes you have two soldiers, you have two soldiers on the road block. A Minister of State for Defense turns up with 20. So these two soldiers cannot stop someone with 20 soldiers. So the level of indiscipline, sometimes by all of us, by soldiers, by policemen, by people driving vehicles with UC number plate, if it begins working, by the way, I think even the traffic jam will reduce.
Will improve. Okay.
Yeah.
Nanfi?
Oskar, I welcome the CDF's not proposal order, and it's well overdue. I mean, you, Oskar, have been complaining for a long time about them because
Entebbe road people.
I know people's kids who are just going to Entebbe for fun and they use siren cars. So it had, I know. Yes. So it had really run out of control. But while he's saying these things, he needs to check himself because things he's done in the past have invalidated anything that he has to say. So gestures like this, whereas they do well for him, we can't forget him closing a whole road, a highway to Kenya to celebrate his birthday, or using government resources to celebrate his 48th birthday, or many other things. So if he's starting on that trajectory of I'm fighting corruption, I'm fighting impunity, I'm putting things in order, he needs to do better than that.
Okay,
One
Lydia?
gesture is not enough. But thank you.
What do you want me to talk about?
Are you pleased with the instruction for soldiers to get off the road?
First
and
of all,
sirens get off the road?
I want to see that instrument. I have not seen it.
It was administrative, doesn't it?
I didn't see it, so I don't want to get excited over something I've not seen.
The question was, are you pleased that soldiers are
But how can I be pleased
off
about
the
something I
road?
have not seen?
Oh.
So let me assume that it is there, then I say it's good, but I have not seen it.
I hope you are not the one who chases us from the road.
I don't have a lead car, but I have not
Maybe
seen
she
the
has lost.
instruction. But if it is there, okay, maybe somebody can forward me a tweet. But I think it's a good idea because you cannot have cabinet is how many people? 80. Cabinet is 80 people. That's 80 times 3 because there is a lead and a backup. So if they can, but the message I want to Oskar, the most important message for me is that leaders should not give an impression that Uganda is insecure. So anybody in security forces must make sure that we all travel free because this lead and backup noise, it gives an impression. Because I worked in missions that are insecure. The only that appearance of so many soldiers around you, it shows that there is insecurity.
Yeah.
So it's a very strong message so that the Uganda is secure by only allowing those who are legally entitled to have a right of way.
Yeah.
But having you are talking about ministers. No, I know departments, commissioners, directors, heads of agencies having lead vehicles. Why would somebody who is heading a government, a civilian heading a government department, having 12 soldiers, 6 in the front and 6 at the back? What's your problem?
Okay.
So I think that the leaders.
Lydia,
we are talking about.
She's Nanfi. You are off air. Conclude this topic.
I'm entitled.
Conclude.
No.
Conclude. Yes. I have your mic, guys and girls.
Guys and girls.
Just give Ssemujju tap Nanfi on the shoulder. Yes, thank you. Let me have your. Yes.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I have your microphone on. Yeah. Dear listeners, just bear with the heckling of you. Yes. Yes.
Well, I think. From where I sit.
Yes.
from where I sit, this excitement.
Oh, you face this way and tell and talk.
This excitement.
Leave the guys and girls alone.
This excitement is misplaced in my view from where I sit.
Yeah.
First of all, I agree that there had indiscipline and impunity had crept into the military, where they do all sorts of things, including putting jackets or lending their vehicles to people who are not authorized, and they use that for having right of way and so on and so forth. But we shouldn't be excited that a disciplined UPDF should wait for an order not to abuse the law. We shouldn't. Secondly, for the ministers, I don't think we should wait for the CDF or anybody. In our law, where does the CDF come on the traffic? That is the one controlling traffic. That's a systemic problem then. That means police has failed, because police has all the authority to impound any vehicle. No. That's an incompetent police. There's no excuse the police has for not enforcing the law, even stopping a minister's car and saying.
But wasn't it the president who first said, police stop escorting, let army do so?
No. Then, thirdly, they sit in joint commands where those things should be ironed out, and the police will do it.
Good point. Thirdly, and conclusion.
Thirdly, for the ministers, I think this is a matter that in the cabinet and head of service, the head of public service is one who should issue instruction on public conduct of senior government officials. How do you conduct yourself on the road? And if there has been a review that ministers don't need these lead cars, they should be taken away. It shouldn't come from the CDF. It shouldn't come from the CDF. And so I think there are one or two things that we need to do correctly, that we shouldn't.
Okay.
I know that sometimes when people are disappointed, you can put a jerrycan and they will vote for a jerrycan. But I think Uganda hasn't reached that level that we should wait for the
thank you, listeners of the Capital Gang. Thank you, Uganda Matters University, and apply to Uganda Matters University, Nkozi, Lubaga, Fort Portal, Masaka, Mbale, and Ngeta. Star Cafe, thank you for powering the gang. You have heard the energy levels. I am Oskar Semweya Musoke, and I shall see you next week.